Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla and it's time to crack into a good book. So today's video is to go over some of the September releases that I'm looking forward to. There's like an ungodly number of books coming out this month for some reason, and so it's gonna be kind of hard on my bank account, I guess, but there's a lot of books that from authors that are like auto-buy authors for me, so I mean, I guess goodbye money. So I've got like I think 20-ish books to talk about today. I think this isn't even like all of the books that I'm looking forward to, but it's a good sample of them. Alright, so I will go in order of release date and we can just go from there. So there's quite a few books coming out September 3rd for whatever reason, lots of sequels also. So let's just jump right in. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Sword and Pen by Rachel Caine. So I think this is the 5th and final book in the Great Library series. So this is, they're all over here. So this is like kind of an alternate history type world where the Great Library at Alexandria didn't burn down, and like they kind of control all books, and like there's kind of some censorship going on here. So I mean, this is the 5th book in the story, so I don't want to like go into details, but I think it's probably going to be like some sort of epic conclusion to the story. I'm not sure if it's like YA or adult. I don't know. It's a good series though. I've really enjoyed all of the books so far. So I think in this book we may have like a choice between like destroying the library or like hopefully transforming it into something that's like a little less oppressive. But we'll see. The next book I'm going to talk about is Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff. So this is, I mean, probably pretty popular and you probably already know what it's about, but it's the 3rd book in the Nevernight Chronicles. So this follows Mia Corvair, and she is basically like going on an epic revenge quest. So the first book is like, I don't know, there's like a magic school type trope. Second book, there's gladiators. 3rd book, I mean, who knows what we're going to get. I'm sure this will continue our epic revenge story. And I think it's the last book in the trilogy. So yeah, pretty exciting, but I won't get into much more detail here. The next book we have is The Unkindest Tide by Seanan McGuire. So this is, I think, book 13 in the Toby October Day series. And I have kind of talked about that several times on my channel. So maybe I'll try to link my Seanan McGuire author spotlight video below so you can like get a little more detail on that. I think this book focuses on Selkies. We'll see. I don't want to, again, get into spoilers here because we're like 13 books into this series, but I'm sure it's going to be great. So the next book I'm going to talk about is The Harp of Kings by Juliet Marillier. So this is a start to a new series for her, and it's, I think, the Warrior Bards. I think we have a female character who wants to become like an elite warrior. Okay, so she and our main character and her brother evidently are going undercover. So I think they're, learning to be spies and using their like musical training to kind of go undercover. They're on a quest to get a harp, and there's some sort of like fae, probably, or it just says otherworld, but probably fae, influence trying to like prevent them from getting this harp, because like, I think there's like a king that needs it in order to be coronated, but I don't know. I love all of her books, so I'm sure it's going to be excellent. Okay, so the next book I'm going to talk about is Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. This, I think, is a YA fantasy. I think we've got like a family of witch doctors, and our main character is like either losing her magic or doesn't have magic like the rest of the people in her family. So I think she's kind of like getting a little desperate and is like wanting to trade, I think, some of the years of her life for magic. Oh, we've got some disappearing children and a demon king stirring, so that sounds awesome. So I think there are obviously a lot of gods. It's probably going to be pretty dark. I don't know. It looks cool though. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Lady Rogue by Jen Bennett, and I think this may be like set in the Carpathian Mountains. Main character's father, I think, is like a treasure hunter, and he, I think, is maybe captured, and so she has to go rescue him. I guess her father had been like getting information, or possibly, getting information about a ring from Vlad the Impaler, and disappears. I think this has some magic in it, hopefully some adventure. There's other people like searching for this ring, and you know, it says they'll go to any lengths, including murder, to retrieve it. The next book I'm going to talk about is To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. So I think this is actually a novella, but this is just like a standalone novella. And I think it's like, instead of terraforming planets, people can like modify themselves to fit that planet. So that's kind of like an interesting twist on it. But I mean, her Wayfarer series is pretty well received, I think, in general. So I think this is going to be a really good novella. Next book I'm going to talk about is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. So this is like a romance set at a Renaissance festival. So I think Mara from Books Like Woe and Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany, so I'll leave their channels linked down below, but they both really liked it, and I was like, I've kind of chatted with them in the comments some, and I was like, oh my god, I love Renaissance festivals, so this sounds perfect. And it's like an enemies to lovers trope. So they were like, yeah, I think you're really going to enjoy this. So I'm very excited to read it. Our Renaissance Festival starts, I think, in October. So I'm going to like definitely read this and prepare myself for some Renaissance festivals. Next book I'm going to talk about is The Nightjar by Deborah Hewitt. This is like a contemporary fantasy set in London, I think. Oh, it's in an alternate London, perhaps. Ooh, it's a magical world hidden behind our world. Ooh, that sounds fun. So I think our main character has like sees visions of birds. So she like is capable of seeing these magical birds that guard human souls. So that's like kind of fun. Her best friend gets hit by a car, and so our main character, I think, has to like find her soul. And then we have somebody or some group trying to like eliminate magic users, and I'm sure that's going to come into play, trying to eliminate our main character. Next book I'm going to talk about is an anthology called The Mythic Dream. So I think this is just like a collection of different myth and legend retellings, which I'm like all about, so I'm pretty excited about this. I know Shauna McGuire has a story in here, and Rebecca Roanhorst has a story, and Naomi Novik has a story in here. So like there's definitely some big name authors, so I haven't heard too much about this, but I mean, again, I really like myth and legend retelling, so I'll probably pick it up anyway. So the next book that I'm going to talk about is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. So Bethany over at Beautifully Bookish Bethany did like a little mini review, which I'll also try to remember to link down below. But she said she really enjoyed it, and it's like a marriage of convenience, enemies to lovers romance, where between a witch and a witch hunter. So that sounds pretty awesome. Originally I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, that seems like it could be interesting. But once I saw Bethany's review, I was like, okay, yeah, I probably do need to read this. She said it was, I think, her favorite romance of the year, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, so our main character is a witch, and, you know, and witches, I think, in this world are, like, hunted down and burned. And then our other character, who she ends up marrying, is a witch hunter. So, I don't know. That's about all the extent of my knowledge, but I think it's going to be really good. Okay, so we finally moved. Those are all the September 3 releases. That's like, well, that I'm going to talk about. I think there's more, but we need to try to restrain ourselves. So now we're moving on to September 10th. And the first book I'm going to talk about is The Magnolia Sword by Sherry Thomas. So I think this is just a retelling of Mulan. That's basically all I need to know. So, you know, I'm on board here. The next book I'll talk about is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. So this is, again, just a really popular book on BookTube, but it's billed as like lesbian necromancers in space, which already sounds awesome enough. But what they're not like advertising, I guess, is that it's also like a closed circle mystery, which I think is really kind of strange to not mention that, because like, I mean, that just like adds to the appeal for me. So I don't know. I mean, I thought it already sounded interesting enough, but with like that added layer, I'm even more intrigued. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Resurrectionist of Caligo, something like that. This is by Wendy Trimboli and Alicia Zaloga. I think I got those names right. I hopefully did. So our main character digs up corpses for like med schools, and he, I think, is framed for murder of one of his cadavers. So his best friend, who's a princess, I think, is like, oh, I can save you from being executed with like some sort of blood magic ritual. I think they're investigating like this murder and who framed him. The next book I'm going to talk about is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex Harrow. So this is, I think, like a portal fantasy. This is set in like the early 1900s, and I think our main character finds a book that like transports her into other worlds, possibly. I don't know. It looks really cool. I'm very excited for that. The next book is an anthology, and it's called Life is Short and Then You Die. So this is, I think, edited by Kelly Armstrong, who's one of my favorite authors. But I think this is like short story collection of murder mysteries, but it's like all, I think, like teen and YA stuff. Some of the like little blurbs about it is like, oh, there's like a Snapchat story with that promises something deadly, and high school cliques and actual backstabbing, I think. So I don't know. I mean, I really like Kelly Armstrong, so this is maybe one that I'm not quite as interested in, but I do really like Kelly Armstrong, so like I'll probably check out the reviews and see, you know, if it's a good story collection. So then I think we're going to maybe skip yeah, I guess there's no September 17th releases that I'm like super looking forward to. So we'll just move on to September 24th. So the first book I'll talk about in this chunk of books is Grave Importance by Vivian Shaw. So I think this is the third book in the series. This is the Greta Helsing series, and I think she's the descendant of like the Van Helsing, but she's like a doctor to all these like supernatural creatures like vampires and werewolves. It's a really fun series. I actually really like it. There's some sort of medical mystery happening at a French spa for mummies, so that sounds really cool. Again, I really like this series, so I'm excited to see where this one picks up. Now, there's two books. Evidently, we're going to be building structures out of bone this month. I don't know. The first book I'll talk about is The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker. So in this world, I guess some people have been building ships out of dragon bones to fight some wars, and like the dragons disappear, but we still have some war happening. But I guess now we have spotted the first dragon in like centuries or something like that. So then it's like, I think, a competition to like, I don't know, claim the dragon for their own. I don't know how like grimdark it is, but it sounds really good. So the other bone structure book, I guess, is The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. So this is supposed to be like a historical horror novel, evidently. So our main character and her siblings are grave diggers. Oh, but the dead people don't always stay dead. Ooh. Okay, the bone houses are like the corpses that rise up, I guess. These corpses are coming back to life based on a curse or something. Have like a new person coming into town, and like these corpses are attacking with like more and being more ferocious. So this kind of, I think, has like a fairy tale feel to it, and obviously I think our main characters are like trying to stop these corpses from just like rampantly attacking people, but like it sounds awesome. This book I'm going to talk about is Steel Crow Saga by Paul Kruger. This is evidently Pokemon meets Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay, so we have like enchanted steel and magical animal companions, so that sounds cool. I think we've got something like 4 characters banding together to stop some sort of unstoppable killer who defies the laws of magic. So there's, I think, friendship and possibly like some sort of romance happening here, but I don't know, it looks really cool. Okay, so the last book I think I'm going to talk about is Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall. So I think this is like a faux documentary type book, like the Blair Witch Project. So once a year, some sort of road appears in a forest, and at the end of it, the ghost of some dead girl is like calling to people. There's some sort of like game, and like it says like, if you win, you escape with your life. If you lose, ... So that's intriguing. So our main character's sister disappeared the year before, and I think she is like probably just trying to figure out where she went. Our main character, I think, thinks or knows that this ghost actually exists. It says every mistake summons new horrors, and like there's all sorts of like supernatural creatures or something, so that sounds really cool. I think a lot of these books have like sort of a creepy-ish feel to it, so like excellent fall reading here. So somebody is doing their proper marketing for when to release these books. So there's like brief overviews of several of the books that I'm looking forward to this month. Let me know in the comments if you think any of these sound interesting, or if there's other books that I missed. Kasha from Kasha in Bookland also talks about some September releases that I did, well, some that I did and some that I didn't mention here. So I'll leave her video linked down below as well, so you can check it out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.